Hi guys, and welcome to this week's webinar on tempo training. So I've been quite excited to get stuck into this one. There'll be a few demos kind of just in front of here, hopefully you'll be able to see, and it's just going to be a little bit of talk about understanding what tempo training is and where I look to incorporate it. Fundamentally, when we're looking to train with tempo, we're looking to manage, control or manipulate the speed of our movement. So how quickly we're going down, how quickly we're coming up, are we pausing in the bottom? And we can relate that to any exercise. So straight away, if I've got my kettlebell here, I'm at the top of a bicep curl, how quickly am I coming down through my curl and how quickly am I coming up? Am I adding a pause anywhere? So here again, I could come 3, 2, 1, pause at this range, isometric, the biceps on, all the way down to the bottom, could add a pause at the bottom, and then could come up 3, 2, 1. And you can see straight away manipulating the tempo is going to change how the exercise feels. And that's where I come to kind of why I might use it. Recruitment, strength, pre-fatigue. They're 3 of many reasons why I might include tempo training within your workouts. Recruitment, sometimes if you, for example, take anything in your hand and go through the bicep curl range, slowing it down is going to help build that mind to muscle connection over what's working and when it's working. So the biceps switching off a little bit at the bottom once it lengthens all the way out, and then squeezing, contracting up, that muscle shortening up to the top, and then it's lengthening out still with load on the way down. So recruitment, mind map, kind of map to that link to the brain and the muscle, understanding that memory, that pattern. Strength, increased strength, whether that's on the shortening phase or the lengthening phase, which I'll go to in a second. Pre-fatigue, something like a wall sit hold or a squat hold before going into goblet squats and lunges. So we're looking to fill the leg muscles, the quads, the glutes specifically with some lactic acid, pre-fatigue them in a hold, and then move on to, I don't know, 3 sets of 10, for example. So many reasons we're looking to change the speed. One of my favorites is the link between recruitment and movement patterns. And there's 3 phases when it comes to understanding how to manipulate and play with the tempo of an exercise. And they are the concentric, so the shortening, the contractile, the shortening of the muscle, that movement, that phase. The eccentric, which I always remembered as eccentric, like lengthening, so something's lengthening out, and how that phase works. And then the isometric, so it's a hold in position, it's a static position. When it comes to things like the bicep curl, for example, just so that you can see at the top here, we're in our most concentric part of the action. The bicep is nice and small, it's cramped up, it's doing its job. As I come down here, I'm lengthening out the muscle. This is my eccentric phase. Eccentric, 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 all the way down to the bottom. Starting from the bottom, this is my concentric phase, shortening of the muscle, contracting the muscle. If I stop halfway and hold, that becomes an isometric hold. Okay, so just to run through that in quick time, concentric, eccentric, shortening, lengthening and holding. Why might we want to play with them? Well, concentric wise, we're shortening, it's a powerful, explosive, quicker movement. Something like the squat, for example, coming out of the bottom of the squat. So we're going to put the brakes on, eccentric on the way down, concentric, shortening up those quads on the way up. Same with the press up. When it comes to eccentric, the trick here with tempo is most of the tempo, for example, 1 second up, 3 seconds down, you'll find on the eccentric phase, because we are stronger through lengthening with load than we are contracting with load. Okay, so when again, I'm using a bicep curl so you can see me, but when we're coming up, if you've ever got to a point where a weight is heavy, it can be really hard to get up, but once it's up, you could control it down. That just reinforces that we're stronger through the eccentric phase, the lengthening phase, than we are the shortening phase. So you might find tempo written like this. 1, 0, 3, 0. So no rest at the bottom. 1 second up, no rest at the top. 3 seconds down, no rest at the bottom. 1, 3, and that would be written in 4 numbers. Concentric phase always first, 1 second. 0 at the top means 0 rest at the bottom of the top of the movement. Eccentric 3, lowering for 3 seconds on the way down. Another 0 would mean 0 rest at the bottom. It would be similar with a squat. So we could imagine we're loaded here. In fact, I'll load, and we're coming down for 3, 2, 1. I could then add isometric 3, 2, 1. So I had a 3 second hold at the bottom. Then I could come up for 1. So my concentric. No rest at the top would be 0. I could work my way back down, and I can pair that together as I'm moving through the exercises. So things like going slower into the bottom of the press up would be loading eccentrically. Slowing down on the bottom from a curl, loading eccentrically. So that's kind of all I wanted to touch on when it comes to tempo. It's understanding that it works with the pairs. Quads work, hamstrings lengthen, vice versa, bicep, tricep, and that works all the way across the body. You're stronger in your eccentric, so whenever you're lengthening out that muscle, if I can, I'm going to put a little more load through that phase. You will generally feel more DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, if you really fire up that eccentric loading. Isometric, great for activation, great for, again, kind of preloading with lactic acid into the area, and a really great pre-fatigue tool, or a tool to finish off a session, or to add, for example, when training at home, if we can't keep progressing in the weight, we take that same weight, we add a 3 second hold in the bottom of every rep, for example, a squat, straight away that elevates, that overloads that program to another level. So tempo training, changing the movement and speed, changing the speed of the movement, mainly for me, for recruitment and strength. Shortening is power, lengthening can take more load, greater force production. Isometric, great for activation, generally written in 4 numbers. Concentric first, so your shortening movement first, potentially a pause or no pause, your eccentric movement third, and then another pause. Just to repeat that again, it would be 1, 0, 3, 0. 1, 0, 3, 0. So that's a touch on tempo. Just, I know it's in a few of your programs and you may have played about with tempo before, just to give you a bit of an understanding of that. And as always, I'll be back next week.